So Nintendo Direct just happened just past this past couple of days. It was the 40th anniversary of the original Mario game, and it was the longest Nintendo Direct that they've ever done in the history of Nintendo Direct, I guess. And we're not gonna break down all the different games that they talked about. It was an interesting one. We heard of a lot of obviously new updates and things like that. Kong Bonanza DLC, as well as a new Super Mario movie Galaxy coming out, which is really interesting. They're bringing back Super Mario and Super Mario Galaxy at higher resolutions, I would assume, into a combo thing. So a variety of different things, but the main one that I want to talk about, and which I'm sure you've clicked on because of the title of this video, is Metroid Prime 4. This is probably my most anticipated game coming from Nintendo, and one of the reasons why I've kind of held off on buying a Switch 2 temporarily, but I'm thinking about possibly getting it for this game because I'm really excited for it. Because right now I am in the current process of replaying Metroid Prime on the GameCube. But yeah, I want to give all the credits to Gamescom. This is where I got a lot, not Gamescom, Games Radar. This is where I got a lot of the information from everything that we know about Metroid Prime 4. Obviously, some of this information is going to be brand new that we learned throughout this recent direct, but then also combination of just kind of collecting everything that we know so far. And if I miss anything, please be sure to let me know down in the comments below. I will heart it and pin it if it's something that I missed, so everybody else can see it as well. And yeah, obviously things might change as we get closer. I think we're not going to get too much more information because we're about just under 3 months away. But yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that we know that was just announced was the release date. The release date being December 4th, 2025, which is awesome to hear that it's going to be this year. We're not have to wait till 2026. And it will be releasing on both Switch and Switch 2. Not quite sure what we have. I haven't heard anything about what the Switch 1 port, the statistics of what it's going to run at, the frame rate, the hertz. I'm assuming it's probably going to be sub 30 FPS at about 720 on the original Switch. We don't know yet. They haven't really talked about it. Don't anticipate too much. But this game was built around developing for the original Switch, so it should work fine at release. Obviously, we'll see as time goes on, but it looks like the Big Daddy version to play is the Switch 2. It is going to come with an upgrade in its own, I believe, game card, so we'll see how that will play. It stands that there's going to be 2 types of modes that you could play this game on. It is quality at 4K 60 and then performance at 1080p 120 hertz. This is in docked mode. In handheld mode, we're going to shift all that stuff down just one resolution, where in handheld it's going to be 1080p at 60 fps and then 720p at 120 fps. Now let's break it down into the gameplay, some of the stuff that we know for the gameplay, and that is we're going to be receiving new enemies and bosses. We're not quite sure what they're going to look at. Obviously, if you look at the gameplay footage that we've seen throughout the past few months, whether it be from the Nintendo Switch 2 announcement, from the previous trailers and stuff like that, that there is going to be a variety of new different enemies and things that we're going to face. In terms of the power abilities, there is a new one that they're highlighting a lot that we saw in the very first trailer. I haven't seen too much more of it. Is that you're going to get these new psychic abilities that Samus can then use to, use on her enemies to whether fling them or create damage towards them, but then also helping solve puzzles so then she can get to the next stage of the mission. So that's going to be really interesting how you can utilize these different psychic powers. Hopefully can add a new interesting element to the game in terms of solving puzzles, as well as using your other weapons and scan visors to, kind of move along. So I'm really excited that the fact that they're adding another element to that, because it felt like the first 3 games were kind of just reiterations of each other, except obviously different stories and whatnot. So it looks like they want to try to take a kind of help push this game forward a little bit more. Outside of that, we have obviously the mainstays. We have the power suit, the power beam, the missile launchers, the warp ball, psychic visor, scan visors. But then also in this recent trailer at the Nintendo Direct, we saw that Samus is going to have a bike that you can use to traverse throughout the environments and land, which not only just that, but I know a lot of people were anticipating that this was probably just going to set place on a jungle planet for the most part, but considering and looking at the latest trailer, we're seeing that she's riding the bike through this open land desert, which makes people question, is this game going to be an open world-esque game? Is it going to be more of an open zone with different environments? I'm going to the thought process that it's probably going to be an open zone. I think we're going to bounce between different planets. Obviously, there's probably going to start you out on this jungle planet where you're trying to collect this artifact, which will break down to the story in a second. But I would imagine from what we're seeing, maybe the bike isn't the only vehicle. It might be, but I know a lot of people were questioning it, that were kind of confused by it. Like, what did this really mean? Did it look a little jank? I don't want to talk too much about it the technical standpoint, because obviously we haven't played it, we haven't touched it, things might change. You never know. But it does bring up an interesting conversation of, is this going to be an open world / open zone? I don't think it's going to be open world, because I feel like they would have said that. That's kind of a big selling point for a lot of people. And quite honestly, I don't know how well it would work with this genre. So I think the open zone format is going to probably be the way it goes. Picture it almost like a Star Wars Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, where you're going to these different planets to do. That's something where I could potentially anticipate seeing, but obviously we won't know. Maybe it's just different regions on one singular planet, but curious to see and learn more about that. So now let's get into what we know about the story of the game so far, which is not much. The game opens up with Samus being tasked by the Galactic Federation to protect this artifact from space pirates. We don't necessarily know what this artifact is, what it entails, why they want it, what makes it so important. We don't really know a lot. So far, they've mostly just shown like combat and gameplay footage, but we can kind of infer from the little bit of notes that they've said in these trailers, so on and so forth. But while she's trying to capture this artifact and protect it from the space pirates, she sees that the Metroids are working with Psylocke, which seems to be the main villain of the game. It was confirmed by the developers that she will be the main protagonist, it feels, against Samus, and you're going to try to work to stop her, whatever she might be doing with this specific artifact, why it's so important. Now, we do know that while she's trying to get to the artifact, this is where she lands on this jungle island or jungle planet, where she comes across these different statues, and these statues are where she eventually gets these psychic powers that you're able to use throughout the game. So I'm assuming this is going to probably be the very first area, and what make people believe that this game was mostly going to set place in this specific zone, because she seems to be trapped on this specific island, or I keep on saying island, but this specific planet where she's trying to get out, because whatever happened, it kept her locked in there. So it's about trying to solve these things, get out. But I can't imagine that's going to be the whole game. I would, especially if we're looking at the vehicle aspect of it, she doesn't seem very trapped. So this could just be, like I said, just maybe the first section, the first zone, and then as you progress, I imagine the chase kind of moves on and you're going to the next one, the next one, and the next one. Like I said, it is confirmed by Retro Studio that Psylocke will play a big role. The most that we know about her was from the previous games. She was a bounty hunter that debuted in Metro Prime Hunters, and she has a strong distrust for the Federation. So because of the fact that Samus works directly with the Federation, therefore she does not like her and what she stands for. So that's kind of where the conflict is. We're not sure why she distrusts the Federation, why she's kind of more of a mysterious character that was hinted at in previous games, and now she seems to be brought up as like the main character. Overall, like I said, that's kind of everything that we know about the story. There's not too much going on. I anticipate that we're going to learn more as these Nintendo Directs come in. I would imagine there's probably going to be one, maybe two more by the time we get to December, by the release of this game. I'm sure we're going to see probably another trailer, but if we know anything about Nintendo, they're probably going to keep it under wraps for the most part and just kind of surprise people. But let me know what you think of everything that we know so far. Like I said, if there's anything that I missed, let me know down in the comments below. I'll pin it, do whatever I can so everybody else can see it as well. And yeah, we'll try to do some updates on this topic, and as we get closer, maybe we learn more. And then for sure, once the game comes out, we're going to be covering it and talking about and giving a review. And yeah, if you want to see more content just like that, please be sure to like and subscribe, and yeah, ring the notification bell if you want to see more like that. And yeah, we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.